Yeah.
The 18th of December, Rabbi Furst Pirkei Avos.
Thank you, Lou. As Lou mentioned, this is Rabbi Shlomo First TD Shiva Samanavshi Yerushalayim Care of Zoom. This is our first year. We're learning currently, trying to understand a bit deeper, on a deeper level, the Alanissim that we'll be saying shortly, 1 week from today. Bez Hashem Bo Aleinu L'Toiva Hanuka Chaf Hey of Kislev Shana Tavshin Pei Hey. Okay, let me put on the screen the nusach. There we go. Okay. Let's start from the beginning. We'll do a quick review, make some points along the way. Mitzvah Hashem. Yeah. Anyone like to read Bezat Hashem?
I do.
Okay. Please go ahead.
Bimei Matityahu ben Yochanan Kohen Gadol Hashmonai. In the days of Matityahu, the son of Yochanan, the high priest, the Hashmonean, Uvanav and his sons, Kishamda Malchus Yavan Harasha'a Al Amacha Yisrael, when the kingdom of Greece rose up in their wickedness against your people Israel, Lashkicham Torasecha, to make them forget your Torah, Ulahaviram Mechukei Ritzanecha, and to compel them to stray from the statutes of your will. Vata.
Oh, okay. So these first two, this what you read up till now really contains two basic statements. One is, as we mentioned yesterday, the time of when it was. What are we talking about? We're talking about it was in the days of Matisyahu ben Yochanan and Kairo, Hashmonayo Banav. Now, there when you want to pinpoint a certain event in time, so there are obviously different ways of doing it. So here the emphasis is on um, the time of Matizyahu ben Yochanan Kohen Gadol and his sons, that the acts which HaKadosh Baruch Hu uh, brought forth were done through, right, Matisyahu and his sons, and therefore the time is called after their time, right? It's we see also in the Al Nisan for Purim, right? That we see, how's it listed there? Uh, we say it may Mordechai be Esther, right? It may Mordechai be Esther. That the miracles that Hashem brought forth were done through Mordechai and Esther, right? So therefore, right, the time is given in their names. And now the second point in this first introductory statement is that they opposed us, the Malchus Yavana Russia, Al Yisrael, and the corollary to that is how they did it. What did they do? They were doing things that were intended to cause us to forget our Torah and to cause us to transgress Hashem's will. And in the end, you see that the outcome was the exact opposite. The outcome was that we did not forget the Torah, and we not only did not transgress the the commandments, but we actually added on new commandments. We have a new additional command for the observance of Hanukkah and the all the halachas that involve that. So even though their intention was that we should forget the Torah, we did not, in fact, forget the Torah. It, actually, what they did was, in fact, causing us to, uh, to, 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 strengthen our devotion and learning of Torah. And they also intended that we should transgress Hashem's will. And in fact, more, not even that we don't transgress Hashem's will, we even add on extra details and mitzvahs to the will of HaKadosh Baruch. Okay, Viata. Let's continue on the end of the second line, Viata.
Okay, V'ata b'rachamecha harabim, and you in your abundant compassion, Amad ta lahem be'es tzarasam, stood up for them at the time of their distress, Ravta es rivam, championed their cause, Danta estinam, judged their claim, Nakamta es nikmasam, avenged their wrong, Masarta giborim biyad chalashim, who delivered the strong into the hand of the weak, V'rabim biyad ma'atim, the many into the hands of the few, U'tmeim biyad toharim, the impure into the hands of the pure, V'rsha'im biyad tzadikim, the wicked into the hands of the righteous, V'zedim biyad oskei sorasecha, and the willful sinners into the hands of the diligent students of your Torah. Ulecha asisa shem gadol v'kadosh b'lamecha, and for you, you made a name great and holy in your world. Ula amacha Yisrael asisa teshuah gedolah, and for your people Israel, you made a great victory, ufurkan kayom hazeh, and a salvation to this very day. V'achar kain ba'u v'necha livir v'secha, and afterwards came your children into the holy of holies of your house. Ufinu es hechalecha, and they cleansed your temple. V'tiharu es mikdashecha, and they purified your holy site. V'hidliku neros b'chatzros kodshecha, and they kindled the lights of the courtyard in the courtyards of your sanctuary. V'kava'u shmonas yemei Hanuka elu, and they established 8 days, these 8 days of Hanukkah, lodos ulahalel l'shimcha hagadol, to thank and praise your name that is great.
Okay, yeah, very good. All right, so now let's want to focus now on it was Ace Sarosum, right? We said there was an Ace Sarosum, the time of their distress. Now, what the distress was it was not really clear, right?
Well, weren't they forbidding us to observe the Torah and killing people who didn't bow down to their idols?
Well, I mean that's not mentioned here, right?
Right.
The if you remember what we learned in the Mishnah Berurah, Chavetz Chaim quoted the Rambam, what the Rambam says in terms of the background to the event that led to the miracles of Hanukkah, right? So there, that is extremely detailed in what was being done to us, right? Here, here it's simply two simple words. Uh, if you, I'm making a point of it because when you if you have your sitter with the Al Nisim for Purim, right? Just contrast this with what's said by Purim. Okay, you have it there. You want to read what it says by Purim?
Biyamei Matisyahu oh no, sorry, that's the wrong one. That's Hanukkah. Where's Purim? Oh, here's Purim.
Hmm.
Biyamei Mordechai be'Esther be'Shushan Habira. In the days of Mordechai and Esther in Shushan, the capital, Kisha'amad Alehem Haman Harasha, when Haman, the wicked Haman, rose up against them, Bikesh Lahashmid, Laharog, Ula'abed, Es Kol HaYehudim, uh, he sought to destroy, to slay, and to exterminate all of the Jews, Minar Va'ad Zakein, from young to old, Taf V'nashim B'yom Echad, infants and women on one day, Bishlosha Asar Lachodesh Shneim Asar,
Oh,
13th day of the month, the 12th month, Hu Chodesh Adar. This is the month of Adar. Ushalalam Lavuz, and they're
stop. Don't you see a lot more detail here,
absolutely
right? By Hanukkah it says Beis Tzarosam, right? You said okay, they want us to forget the Torah, Ma'aviram Rotzanecha, right? Now, and the Beis Tzarosam, it could be that what it mean that what they were trying to do to forget the Torah, and we would transgress transgress the will of Hakadosh Baruch Hu. That was the Eisrasim, but it's completely different when it's what we mentioned by Purim. There's a very detailed description of what and another big difference between Hanukkah and Purim is when it says by Haman, it says Bikesh. He sought to do this. This is what he intended to do, but he never carried it out. In the case of the Yevonim, they were actually carrying it out.
but it's worse.
Apparently, it's worth right what they were actually doing. And even though they were actually doing it, and in terms of what they actually did, we're not really told. But in terms of Haman, we're told in detail what he wanted to do.
Right.
So And then you have the point that we mentioned before, was that the Rambam, which is enlarged based on the Gemara, goes into very great detail in terms of what all the various different distresses that there were at the time.
So I remember learning that um, there are two ways that we get challenged. The Jewish people get challenged in terms of assimilation. One is physical, and the other is spiritual. And the model of these two different ways are Purim and Hanukkah. At Purim is the example of the physical assault, the physical challenge. They wanted to kill us. Hanukkah is the example of the spiritual challenge. They didn't want to kill us. They wanted to convert us. So maybe the reason that we have such detail, physical detail in Purim is because that's the emphasis of Purim, is the physical assault. Whereas in Hanukkah, that's secondary. They did a whole bunch of bad stuff to us physically, but that's not the main thrust of the challenge. So it's not emphasized as much.
So I agree with what you said. And what you're doing now is opening a different avenue in terms of what we can do to analyze these two things. Meaning is as follows. There's what the cause and what the intention of what they wanted to do, right? And then what they actually did. Let me put it this way. True, theoretically, the Greeks weren't really interested in killing us, right? As the Mishnah Berurah, based on that Rambam, says, had we simply acquiesced and assimilated, they would have been very happy. They would have been overjoyed, right? In contrast, Haman, he wasn't interested in us assimilating, right? But because of our resistance to the Greeks, even though their intention was not to kill us, they were killing us. There was wars. We will even mention that in the Alazim itself. There were wars. They were in fact killing us, and they were prosecuting us. In contrast, Purim, even though the intention was physical destruction, right? The outcome of what was done was also a spiritual attack as well. Haman made gezeres as well against Klal Yisrael. So we have to think. Let's just concentrate on Hanukkah at this point. That it's true that it was a spiritual conflict that was taking place, but it resulted in a physical confrontation, and that's in fact how we're taught that when something's a spiritual confrontation, we have to do something physical to counteract that. When something's a physical confrontation, we have to react in a physical way. Excuse me, in a spiritual way, meaning what? By Purim, for example, when the Gezerah was on the physical entity of Klal Yisrael, so we had to respond. The only way to respond was through tefillah, prayer, fasting, right? That was the way to rescind the Gezerah, because we have to understand in both of these situations, Hanukkah and Purim, these events didn't come about on their own. There were causes for these events. This is what we touched on this point yesterday, that it was his Rashlos and Avoda that led to the events of Hanukkah. Okay. 1 second. Okay, so that's something which we have to. So if you want to expand and understand what the Tsarasam, what was their distress, so for that you have to look into the Rambam and see either the Rambam himself, or as the Mishnah Berurah quotes, other people, commentaries quote the Rambam, exactly what the actual distress was. Now we have here one, Rav Teres Rivam, one, Dantes Dinam, two, the Compton Nigmasa. So here, take a look what it says here by the Kriyas Megillah. You have that at the bottom of the page, and it's now on the screen as well.
Okay, let's see. Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam. Blessed are you, Lord our God, King of the universe. Haram es rivam. I'm sorry. Harav es rivam. Rivenu. Let's see. Harav es ribenu. You avenged our vengeance.
Right, very good.
Vahadan es dineno, and you judged our judgment. Vahanokem es nikmasenu, and you avenged our vengeance. V'lehamashalem gemul l'chol oivei nafshenu, and you repaid the iniquity of all of the enemies of our souls. V'ha nifra lanu mitzarenu. And I don't remember what Hanifra is.
Hanifra also is a form of retribution.
Okay, and you brought retribution upon our haters. Baruch atah Hashem Hanifra la'amo Yisrael mikol tzarehem. Blessed are you, Hashem. Hanifra lamo. What's Hanifra?
It's also the same shurish from retribution.
Retribution. what retribution on for your nation Israel upon all of their haters, all of their tormentors. Hakel HaMoshiach, the redeeming God.
Oh, okay. So you have the three basic statements here. Number one, Harav es Rivenu. Number two, Hadan es Dinenu. Menokem es Nikmasenu. Those are the three that are mentioned here by Purim. Also the three mentioned by Hanukkah as well. However, there's a difference between how it's stated here by Purim in comparison to what's stated by Hanukkah. Let's take a look again. Go back up to the Al-Nisim of Hanukkah.
Okay. Let's see. Lahashki Cham Torasecha, to forget your Torah. Ulha'aviram mechukei b'tzenecha, and to compel them to stray from the statutes of your will. And you, Rav Taz Rivenu, that's parallel. Danta es dinenu, nakamta es nikmasenu, nikmasam. So we have some extra things here. Forgetting your Torah and straying from your statutes.
Right. Again, those that was what was intended, right? That was the intention of the Yevonim.
Right.
And then again, Maraka Mekar Harabim, Amadad Laz Be'estras. Now here. So these three statements over here, we want to be very careful how we read this. Rav to Esrivam, Dan to Esdinam, Nikman to Esnikmasam. It's a different format that's stated in the nusach that we have by Purim. You notice how it's different there, Mayor? You notice the difference between the two?
Yes, I do. For Hanukkah, I don't know. So, for example, Ravta at Rivam Ravta is a verb. Who? I forget what it was. Takes up our grievance. Is that it?
Right.
The diktuk is different.
Oh,
The way
yeah,
it's presented.
That's it. I want to get it right. How, in what way is it different diktuk?
Well, one for Hanukkah, it's a verb just describing the situation, while for Purim, it's describing. I would have to believe Hashem, who is doing these things for us. Done it like for example, Hadan, one who uh, I guess judges our claims, as opposed to Anta et dinam, you judged our claims. Now, why it's done
Exactly.
that way, I'm
Very
not
good.
sure, but
Yeah, that we have to try. We have to try and work on that a bit. But that exactly that's the point here. When it says Rav to Es Rivam, we're making reference to what Hakadosh Baruch Hu did, right?
correct.
When we say
What's
Harav, yeah.
what's the difference between Ravta and Harav?
Oh, so in the word Harav, you see the hay in front of the you see the shorsh is raised vav, right? Raised base, excuse me, raised base, Rav. Now the hay makes it into a noun, right? This is a reference to Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Hakadosh Baruch Hu is Harav. He is the one. He is the one that fights our fight. Hashem is the one who fights our fight, right? So Hadan, Hashem is the one who judges. Hano came. Hashem is the one who's taking vengeance, right? This is a in the Alanisim for Hanukkah, Rav ta es rivam, Dan ta es dinam, Nikam ta es nikmasam. Rav ta, that this is something that a verb that you fought. Harav is the one who fights. Rav ta is that you fought. You see the difference, Lou?
Yes, I do. And I see another difference also. I see Rebenu versus Revam. The perspective, the Rebenu is our fight, and Revam is their fight.
Very good. That's also true. So we see two very basic structural differences, grammatical differences between the nusach of the Alanisim and the bracha that we say after the Megillah. So first thing is to realize it. Now, what the explanation is, why there should be differences, that you first have to could think about it on your own. Number one, number two, you have to take a look and see if there are any commentaries on the subject, right? But this is the basic point to be known. That there's a basic structural difference between the Alanisim of Hanukkah and the bracha from the Kriyas Megillah. Okay, let's leave that point for now. We'll try and come back to that, and let's focus again on now. Now let's take a look here. Masarta Giborim Biad Chalashim. Let's go back to that point. Go ahead. Let's go through this now slowly also.
We're back in Hanukkah.
Right.
Masarta Giborim Biyad Chalashim. So you delivered the strong into the hands of the weak. Virabim Biyad Ma'atim. The many into the hands of the few. Utumeim Biyad Tohorim. The impure into the hands of the pure. Urishayim Biyad Tzadikim. The wicked into the hands of the righteous. V'zedim biyad oskei sorasecha. The willful sinners into the hands of the students of your Torah. Ulecha
Okay. Okay. All right, so let's stop up here for a minute. Now, I just wonder, you have these are five categories, right? Giborim, Rabim, Tameim, Rishoim, and Zaydim. Just wondering, is it in these five categories, is there any overlap or repetition amongst these four categories? Five.
Well, I mean, Zaydim and Rishayim, Zaydim are also Rishayim.
Right.
So that would seem to be somewhat of an overlap. I mean, you could probably just say Rishayim and you would know that includes Zaydim.
Okay, that's an interesting point. Um, let's look at it. Now, Zaydim are usually those who are doing or willful, intentional sinners. Rishoim don't necessarily have to be intentional sinners. The Rishoim are contrasted with the Tzaddikim, and the Zaydim are contrasted with the Osim B'Sur Sefer. Usually, as I said, Zaydim are doing something intentionally. Um, you have here, one second. Yeah, okay. That's that. The Zadim, the knowing, those are people who are knowingly transgressing, right? So they're contrasted with those who are Isaac and Osik B'Torah. You have the conflict between those who are involved with learning Torah and those who are opposed to Torah. Now, Zaydim are opposed to Torah, right? Rishoyim may not necessarily be opposed to Torah. No, the the fact that a person's a Rasha could be very well because he's at the mercy of the Yetzer Hara. So a Rasha may not necessarily be someone who's actively against the Torah. His behavior may be against the Torah, right? But he himself may not be actively, consciously negative the Torah. Whereas Zaydim are intentionally fighting against the Torah. Roy, do you think that that's reasonable to say?
I don't know. I suppose broadly,
Yeah. Because Rishoyim, again, a Russia doesn't have to be necessarily philosophically against the Torah.
put it another way, ask it another way, assuming one is worse than the other, which one is? Which one's the worst one?
Right. What would you say?
I don't know, I'm asking.
Zaydim are much worse.
Zadim is the what?
They're much
The
worse.
much worse. Uh-huh. Why? What's the
Because
Zadim?
Zaydim has an element of rebellion within it.
Sorry, an element of the
Rebellion.
rebellion, right? Which one does Zadim also have more to do with Avodah Zarah, or
Um,
they both do?
could be both do. That,
So
for
you're saying,
example,
sorry?
no, go ahead.
So you're saying that no, I've forgotten that the Zadim will say, I'm going to bow down to this idol just to show you that you're not the only one, Hashem. There are other gods beside you. That would be the Zadim and the oh, what's his name? What do you call the and the other one, uh,
Rishoyim.
Shoim would say, oh, maybe you might have a point there that this idol is worth bowing down to. I'm not really too sure about it, but I'll bow down to this idol anyway, just to be on the safe side. Or yes, you might be right. You might have a point. That would be his approach. Something sort of.
I like putting I like to add to what you're saying that, for example, when a person's going to be worshiping idols,
Mm. That's just a point. They do other things too that are bad, but just taking that as as an example, as an area that you can sort of talk about. Mm.
right?
To me, um, Rishayim, at least according to this prayer, uh, can be influenced by tzaddikim. So, in other words, a person can influence what we call a rasha, but Zaydim, it seems like the only way they can be influenced is even through the greater efforts of the Torah.
Sorry, Maya, would you repeat
So
that? You
I
broke
would
up.
agree. I think Zaydim seem to be. Oh, sorry. What I'm saying is the Rishayim. Yeah, it says my internet's unstable. Sorry. The Rishayim are maybe what we can call bad people who's who could be influenced to turn around by tzaddikim, by people who are righteous, people who observe the mitzvot and outwardly show their observance of Judaism. The Zaydim,
Okay, see you later.
which is Rabbi said were
Um,
wantonly
They're,
evil,
they're,
would only be able to be influenced by the words of
right.
Torah, being being busy in Torah, the work. Were you able to hear me, Roy?
Sort of. I think I can piece it together. Yeah, all right.
So that's an important point. The ones that had to go against the Zadim were those who are Isaac and Torah. They would be able to influence or overcome, subjugate the Zadim. Whereas the Rishoyim, it would be enough that the Tzaddikim would have supremacy over them. All right. Okay, well, let's leave it here for now. Okay, we'll take it a little further tomorrow, Mitzvah Shem.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Okay.
Okay, we'll take a
Okay.
break now and we'll continue on with the Mr. Brewster shortly.
Mhm. Okay, thank you. Bye
Okay,
for
Roy,
now.